So yeah, there's a concept of professionalism and dual professionalism in education and training. Professionalism is a teacher or trainer will set what rules. Yeah. Oh, and with adjusting standards to regulation bodies, all professionalism. This level of vocational knowledge in the area. Yeah. Such a professional may not have worked in as a nurse, but have in-depth knowledge of teaching nursing and students. Professionalism is teaching the concept. Dual professionalism is teaching in education is very true. Yes, that's correct. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's what they bring. I mean, if you think about it, I was probably one of the first back in the late 80s who moved over into that transition period. And it was a sort of a 4-year spell. I first got, because I was a fully professional tradesman, but also I was a supervisor by then. They asked us to start laying down standards for the MBQ system. And that's how I first got involved in training. I then became a non-qualified assessor, assessing apprenticeships within the company I was working for. Then, after a contract abroad, I came back and we'd suddenly been moved to France. So I resigned completely, took my redundancy and went into teaching. Went over to Leeds, did some teacher training, and also worked in the company's training centre, which didn't actually shut, for another 2 years. And gained some experience. And therefore, as that closed, I was able to get my first job in a college. When we came into college, some of the lecturers were a bit standoffish with us because not only could we talk about the jobs and the technical side of the work, but we could actually do it as well.
Exactly. Yes.
And that was what they were afraid of. And it got so bad that I had a meeting with them. I said, "Look, guys, we are not here to take your jobs. We're going to do a different function altogether. Our job is to help out with you in times when anybody's off sick and so forth, but also to do the assessment in the workplace. Because we're qualified to do that and you are not. We're not qualified to do you a job, at least not at this stage." I said, but that's the difference. And the attitude changed straight away. You know, it was a pure, you know, sort of wall that went up almost immediately.
It's like a sectorial thing, isn't it? Yeah.
But again, it's not there anymore now because people understand how it works. And of course, there are a lot more people from industry, all sorts of industry and commerce, that are now going into teaching as a second sort of a second career, if you like.
Is it called Teach First? Isn't that from you're going from one career into another?
They've got a number of names now because a number of schools are offering places as for trainee teachers.
My school were saying some things like that they do that as well.
They could actually take advantage of the apprenticeship scheme, which would work exactly the same way, and which has been underspent for the last few years. And now it's been devolved into the areas, or like Greater Manchester's got its own. There may be a change there with some schools. Anyway, that's pretty much 1.1 clearly and complete. Oh, I'm not getting mixed up with your eyes again. I made a mess of it.
I'll sort them out before I send it to you properly with my next one.
I made a complete picture of it last time, didn't I?
Everything just went capital, didn't it?
Exactly, and it wouldn't change back.
No.
So 1.2, especially phonics, Benjamin for students. Learning the different methods of assessment, how you actually can use all sorts of things to gain that feedback to yourself as an assessed practice. Sometimes it's not documented. Sometimes it's what you see or hear.
Because when I did their spelling tests, I did them as a group, and in hindsight, I wish I'd done them separately. They were all separated, but I had to repeat things too many times, and it would have been better if I'd done them one by one instead.
That's the sort of thing I'm talking about with your professionalism. You've thought about that, you've experienced what happened, and you've determined not to do that again.
Exactly.
Quite often, it's the best way of learning.
It was a time crunch, and it had to be done, and that was the only time I had to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Social, political and economic factors. So, okay, we'll pick up from there. I'll close that down for now. Because I'll set up a sheet for you and when I send it back. Yeah. So 2.1. Now here is, what I tend to do is, if you've got a certain axe to grind on any of these areas, because of experience that you've got, by all means use it on here. It says things like social, political and economic factors. Now social factors are quite a big barrier to learning, in my opinion. It depends on the school, and some schools, because of the area they're in, suffer more from that point of view than any other. Other things like behaviourism and so forth fit into that context. And it has a knock-on effect in school, of course. So if that's an issue with you,
because we have migration and EAL, and that is a really big issue with children not getting supported at home because parents don't understand. So we're not just supporting the kids, we're doing the parents as well. So it's bigger workload and so on.
But even on some social implements, you've got parents that don't care, they're not interested. And that becomes very difficult then.
That's true.
So, political, if you've got an axe to grind politically because of something that's happened, or funding that didn't arrive that should have arrived, or funding that's now missing that should be there, and so forth, by all means cover that as well.
I mean, I think we're quite lucky because our school is a very resource-rich school. Anything you need, anything you want, it just sort of turns up magically. You can go into any cupboard, and it's the only school that I've seen that has got so much stuff that is available constantly.
Later on, that might be an issue in Unit 11, where partnerships are involved. And I know you said your school is involved in some partnerships.
Yes.
And that might be the reason. You may only find that out later. So again, political and economic factors usually go together and influence education policy.
Because I talked about economic growth within political factors, and then I put economic factors as a separate as well. On this. It might be a whole lot of nonsense, but.
Well, what you've said there is absolutely right. Education is a factor on economic growth itself, as well as today's students. It will affect the economy when they are at the age of work. It's something I've had a beef about for a long time, in that our education has not changed, yet what's going to happen when they leave school has changed drastically over the last 30 years. We used to have a high-skill, reasonably high-wage economy. We've now worked ourselves into a low-wage, low-skill economy, which means that graduates coming out of university are taking more skilled jobs. The middle sector, which were average and perhaps went to college or didn't go any further than that, are now going to take anything they can get. And the bottom end that didn't actually achieve very much at school have got nothing to look forward to.
Exactly.
That has created this hole for those people, and we need to actually get back to the education system, making sure that doesn't happen, and it's not. That's not what happened.
That's true.
So that's I mean, the situation that I got is not available to anybody now. I could leave school at 15 with no qualifications, yet get an apprenticeship, and a very good one at that, was able to go to college and gain qualification that I'd not done at school, if you like, and carry on from there. So it opens that up for a section of us that's now not available.
It should be available. They should have progressed, shouldn't have it, from there on here.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they should come under economic or social, but I put it under here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Now, this is the one that gets slightly harder when you get into 2.2. Impact of current educational policies on curriculum and practice in your own area.
I did this off I looked at some research, which was really, some days you're in the mood to look at research, some days you're not. Today I wasn't. So I looked at a bit of stuff, and then, because I didn't have any of the curriculum policies that they told me were on their website, there's nothing there. So I just did it by common sense and what I already know about the curriculum so far. So it might not be to it, but...
Well, I put some stuff in there to read and respond from the e-book on there. There was something in there, not a great deal, but there was something in there looking at current educational policy and how it works, right? And some would say, and why it is not working.
Yeah.
And it shows in a number of ways that in which I have had experience of kids coming out with ATHE, GCSE, but when they wanted to enter an apprenticeship, they've got to have that exactly. Yeah. But when we do an induction, I do an initial assessment at the same time, online one. Yeah. I was finding they were coming out more like E3, L1.
Right. Entry 3, yeah.
Rather than level 2, which is ATHE, GCSE. So there were shortfalls there that would have made it difficult for them to continue with the, what they call it, vocationally related qualification. But the apprenticeship now is not just the skills and abilities that you've got to have on the job, it's the vocationally related knowledge that you need within that particular area of work.
Yeah. So it can be hard for someone who's maybe struggled in certain areas like maths and English, but they're, education rich in other areas. So they might be able to do it, but they're going to struggle with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And literally everything now says you must have A to C before you can do it. Yeah.
True.
Certainly in any of the professional jobs anyway. I don't see anything wrong with that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it's certainly sufficient anyway. And that is up to, where are we? Sorry?
2.2.
2.2, okay. Yeah. So looking at 3, which we can move on from there, is explain the roles of any stakeholders and external bodies. So it's read and respond. You can use an example of any awarding body, Pearson, NCFE, EdXL, QAA, and what their role is in enhancing teaching. Example, the use of teacher training. How does it enhance your teaching? Yeah.
The teacher training.
Yeah. Explain how being accountable to these stakeholders and external bodies impacts on the organisation in education and training. One of the things that most schools will go through at some point is an Ofsted inspection.
Yeah.
Now, that external body has a direct effect on what the school does. It means that they have to meet a number of regulatory things, but also there are points within it. They're points within the Ofsted agenda, and you've got to really look at those, and the school has to make sure that it has everything in place to meet those. Yeah. So that's being accountable. Yeah.
I asked school and they said they do Manchester MMU and Leeds University are their main training people that they use.
Yeah.
And that.
So again, if you've got the partnership there, explain why it is important to work in partnership with employers or other stakeholders in education and training. Yeah?
We've got something called Tots to Teens, where they get teenagers coming in to help out with the nursery and reception classes.
Right, well, that'll be a different type of partnership. And who does that work with?
Power 2, apparently.
Right, okay. Find out a bit more about that, and that'll fit in for 3.3. Yeah. Analyse the impact of being accountable to those stakeholders. What does it do to you as a teacher? Yeah. What pressures does it put upon you? Yeah. And how are those supported by your management team? Yeah. So again, we've got some references into the chapter 16 of the e-book. More details, produce a reflective analysis of your own responses at LO3. Yeah. So that is how it's affecting you mainly. Yeah. I'll go into 4 because there are only 2. Right, now this is again, your source of information will help here. Explain key aspects of policies and codes of practice and guidelines of an organisation. That means the one you're working for, basically. Yeah. You'll be able to get lots of information from that person on that area. Yeah.
That's proving to be a bit of an issue because I tried to get all the quality assurance processes and no one knows who the quality person is. Someone is there and then they don't know what quality assurance process is. And I tried to explain is when you're assessing, I said my tutor told me is when, say for example, if you were assessing my work, that would be the assurance process. Okay, we'll get back in touch with you. So I'm going to go mind the more people on Monday.
Yeah. If they've got a good Ofsted rating in the school, then they will have somebody in that position.
Right.
Because it's their job to cover all the aspects of policies and codes of practice and stuff like that, and make sure that information is disseminated and actually integrated into the school curriculum.
Right.
Again, it's looking at a reflective do on the analyse this time, not just explain, the impact of organisational requirements and expectations on curriculum and practice in your own area of specialism.
I like these questions because when you sort of like more or less answer the question in the first one in explain, and then you just sort of like talking about it in regards to yourself, aren't you? In 4.2.
Exactly, yeah. How do you feel about that? What does it do to you? Yeah. All right, where's that? So that is 3 and 4, basically.
Yeah.
There are 4 assessment criteria to 3, but they explain the roles of stakeholders, explain how being accountable to them impacts your organisation.
Yeah.
Explain why it's important to work in partnership with other stakeholders, and then analyse the impact of being accountable to those people on yourself, basically, at your level. And then 4 key aspects of policies, codes of practice, guidelines of school you're working in, and then analyse the impact of those actually on the expectations of curriculum and practice in your own area. So because of the position you're in, you'll be able to get that information fairly straightforwardly. The work you've done up to now, up to 2.2, is fine. I can sign that off. What I will do, I'll go through it in detail after our session tonight. I'll mark it up and I'll put this front page here, this one. I'll put that at the head of your work, and then you'll be able to read off where you're up to, and I'll fill in the bits in between.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. Now, because 5 is a big one, there are 4 assessment criteria to 5. I'll leave that on its own because it is just one LO to do, and that's it, finished. Yeah, there are only 5 LOs in this one.
It doesn't look like I could wing that one without any of the documents, though.
Yeah.
I think I would need the stuff on it.
Yeah. If any of these will be explained better with a document that you can produce, then fine, do it, because that's one of the things when our EQA came in, I sent her all the written work, but I didn't send her any of the appendices. When I explained about them and told her about them, she said, "Oh, that's fine then," because it is more than a partially practical qualification. Now, how do you feel about changing to a Tuesday night?
Yeah, it's fine. What sort of timing are you thinking?
Same time, 8:30.
8:30, yes. So this following Tuesday next week?
Yeah, I'll let you know beforehand, don't worry.
Yeah.
What it is that you've caught up with my Tuesday group now.
Right.
What I'll do is move you into their group. One of my Tuesday group that's had a sabbatical for the last 8 to 9 weeks. When she comes back, she'll go into, I'm setting up a new group with some new people doing Unit 3. Yeah. She's already done 1 and 2, but she's just starting 3. So I can put those 3 together on a Thursday night then and work back from there. So it's just a matter of moving people around to where they're at, basically.
And Tuesday's fantastic because it might be Eid on Wednesday, so that would be awkward next week, but Tuesday's fine, yes.
Yeah, the group you're with, I've got Deepa in London, and I've got Ben, who's in Southampton, I think, and that's it. You'll be the third part of that.
It'd be strange seeing more faces on here.
Well, Deepa's just completed 4. Not quite completed it yet, more or less completed it. Ben's completed 4 and 8, so I'm sort of pulling him back a little bit. He's on 11, but as it happened, Ben's been on a long time, and he ducked out for about a year, and then he came back when he got settled, and he's moved on from there, but now he really wants to get the bit under his teeth and get going now, so he's up to Unit 11. He hasn't done it yet, but the one after this one, Unit 8, is only 2 LOs.
Right, that's not too
it's a very short, straightforward one. So yeah, you're doing great on this, so let's look at just 3 and 4 now. I'll leave you with those, and I'll mark up this for you, as I said, and send it back with your feedback.
Yes. Fantastic. And I'll try and get as much as I can done over the weekend. That would be good.
Yeah. Okay then. Have you got any outstanding questions?
No, I think I should be okay. I think it doesn't sound too bad as long as I've got the bits and bobs, but yeah, it seems okay.
Yeah. I don't know why my what's it's gone.
And if in the end I can't find my own school settings things, I can just go on the internet, can't I? And
but also, if you need any further information from me, send me a text.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
No problem.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye now.